community. I just love it. Except we don't have 27 hours for me to play. There are so many songs, and Louise was up here, and she looked at my music stand. She says, I saw a song, and I think it said, I Am Dirt. Were you questioning your vision? Oh. Well, I'll tell you the message, because I'm not going to play the song for you today. The message is, when Jesse Powers was here, she and I played a couple songs, and she said the nicest thing to me. She said, your voice is so earthy. It's kind of like, and my daughter says, dirt. She was right on it, man. And so, anyway. Oh, and the message, because Louise, you said there's got to be a message. God is in everything. God is love. God's in the dirt. I am love. That's the message, right? But instead, we begin. Here's a tune to take us in. This right here is where we begin. We begin. Let's double down on love, my friends. This right here is where we begin. Now we can start out anywhere, but we're here now, we're not elsewhere. This right here is where we begin. So let's beautifully bless this place, this blue dot in outer space. This right here is where we begin. We sing in, we begin. Here's a tune to take us in. This right here is where we begin. Thanks, David. We begin. Let's double down on love, my friends. This right here is where we begin. And I'm so grateful that we're here together, making memories that might last forever. Right here is where we begin. So let's share a song and a few stories, sing along. Well, it's glorious. This right here is where we begin. Singing, we begin. Here's a tune to take us in. This right here is where we begin. We begin. Let's double down on love, my friends. This right here is where we begin. And when our time is said and done, and we've taken in such a love and fun, thinking about doing it again. Though it seems we have reached the end, remember always, now is when. Every moment's where we can begin. Singing, we begin. Here's a tune to take us in. This right here is where we begin. We begin. Let's double down on love, my friends. This right here is where we begin. This right here is where we begin. Good singing. Good morning.
Okay, we're here. We should begin. Oh, I left my little script thing. Oh, look, magic, there's an extra one. You never see this. There are about 100 of them around the church. They're in drawers, they're on my desk, they're in my file stack thing, they're at home. They all say the same thing. The only edit is when we have somebody else who's doing the platform. Otherwise, I have this. And I was just sitting there and I thought, how come I can never remember the opening? It's always new. You think, how many times have I said this to you? We welcome you in the warm and loving spirit of unity. And you would look and you would think, she must be going over the edge. She can't remember that as a beginning. But on any given Sunday morning, there are so many things going on here and so many wonderful opportunities to be present to one another. Online, here in the sanctuary, so many wonderful ways to connect. If we take a moment and really enjoy the opportunity to see the Christ in one another. What does that mean? The divine truth. To see the Christ in you is to see your wholeness, your perfection, the reality and the truth of your being. In this moment and each moment, we say in unity that we believe that the same presence and power that was present and manifested in and through Jesus the Christ is present in and through us. That the reality of the Christ is a universal truth, more than universal, an infinite truth that is the experience of life itself on all levels, through all dimensions of life. And when we say there is one presence and one power, we mean that presence, that power, is infinitely present with us, within us, through us, and around us. Whether it seems to be so determines on whether or not we believe that circumstance holds the power. Circumstance and condition does not hold the power. The one presence, the one power, the one wisdom, the one guidance, the one light is the eternal and infinite truth. And so when we look at the world and we say, well, but then there's this, and then there's that, we say, well, we're separating. We're practicing separation instead of oneness, instead of wholeness. We believe we are at one with spirit, with all of life, eternally, infinitely, and in the here and now. And that presence and power is actively manifesting in and through our lives right now. Whatever the conditionality might be, nonetheless we hold true to the one reality of that which is always and infinitely bringing forth what we say is the good, wholeness, perfection, right order, harmony, and every blessing. So we do greet you online with that little bit of information about who you are. When you walk in here, it is our desire to see you in your wholeness, to see you in your perfection, to believe that you too are on the path of right outcome and orderly manifestation. We say we know who you are, and we know that the truth of you is being made manifest in any experience of your life, here, now, and always. There's only one presence and one power active in my life. Together, there's only one presence and one power active in my life. God the good. Together, God the good, omnipotent, omnipotent, here and now. Have you been here before? I look at you, I think I know you. Tell me your name. Rose, of course. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me It's my favorite thing to do is be awkward right away. We get it over with and we move right on from there. We do what we do here, you know. Then we pray that it means something to you. We've been studying the book, The Seven Whispers, a spiritual practice for times like these. We're studying by focusing on the prayer ideas on Sunday morning, and then in our class on Tuesdays from 11 to 12:30. And it's, how many of you have the book by now? Yeah.
I gave mine away, are there more?
I have a couple more.
May I?
You just put your name on it. Anybody that fights with Louise has to go home. It's just that way. You need one. Okay. See me in my office later. We'll talk about it. We had 40 of them, and we have moved them along. And I haven't had anybody say, oh, I didn't really like it. If your experience is like mine, we're so grateful to have it. It's an amazing work. Last week you'd read it 4 times. Annabelle's gung-ho. She goes to the top of the heap. Reading it 4 times is, great and good for you. Yeah, I don't mean good for you. I mean, it's good for you. So there. Couple of little announcements this morning. So class on Tuesdays, drumming circle is on the 5th. Our birthday bash Sunday on the 9th. Board meeting on the 11th. I don't know how we came to be in February. Stuns me. Men's group on the 15th. And our new and recommitting members service is on the 16th of February. So if you are not a member and would wish to be, I'm sure we can find the forms that were being There's some on the front thing. That thing. It's a collection of things. If you'd like to be a member of Unity of Skagit Valley, you don't have to give up membership in any other organization. It is the calling of your heart that says, this is a community in which I can thrive and grow and be supported in my desires and in my spiritual unfolding. To make a commitment to membership is simply to say, I would like to be a member, and participating in the service gives us a chance to bless you. Unity membership has never meant more than, this is my spiritual home. I desire to be of support and to be a part of this community in the ways that bring me more deeply into my spiritual awareness. And that's what we strive to do, which allows us then to be the kind of person, as we spiritually grow and unfold, who can be a contribution in our lives, not just to ourselves, but others. We believe these truths that Unity teaches are universal truths, that down through time and space and experience and life change, in all the variety of ways it occurs, we believe this truth is present. When we say infinitely and eternally, what do we mean? We mean we are born of something that can neither be born nor destroyed in a way that means we can't be separated from our source. And down in the midst of us, that which contributes to our spiritual growth is our great work in life. That which reminds us who we truly are and what works with us is what we want. Unity has a list of ideas that we hold collectively. There's one presence and one power. How can I be in touch with that presence, with that power? Through seeking, through meditation, through prayer, through deepening my understanding. We believe that when we collaborate with Spirit, Spirit is presenting itself, and we witness it because it's always presencing itself. And we have the opportunity to align with that power and then to put it into action. There are actually 5 unity principles. They're normally in your bulletin, but right now, this morning, we've got the 7 whispers, which is part of our study for the next few weeks. Maintain peace of mind. Move at the pace of guidance. Practice certainty of purpose. My favorite, surrender to surprise, even when you don't like it. Ask for what you need and offer what you can. Love the folks in front of you and return to the world. It's a prayer. And as you study the deepening of these prayer whispers, they come alive in a different way. They're like little blocks that fit together perfectly in your mind. So, having said that, are there any other announcements I need to bring? Yes, Louise.
My daughter Catherine is having foot surgery on Tuesday, and she will be unavailable for everything from 4 to 6 weeks. So if you think about her, ask for prayer.
And if you need prayer, please submit your prayer request on Sundays if you're here in the brown, can't say it, brown prayer box on the credenza. And online, certainly unitysv.org. And if it's something that is just really powerfully tilting you, you can always call or write Silent Unity and request prayer. Silent Unity, come on. 1-800-NOW-PRAY. I think that's everything from the top. So, we're in it, folks. We're in it. We've been knowing that something was changing. If you've been a spiritual student for a while, you could feel it. And you heard and you know that things were destined for change. And now we're in it. When we're in the process of change, what we say is, let me out. No, don't make me go. And yet, as we read again and again in our spiritual literature and through other teachers, as we listen and as we gather together, we find the light together in not just when we're in the same place at the same time, But when we're together in agreement, that even though we're in the process of change, that which is present with us is, as I said, greater than condition or circumstance. And in the midst of these changes, it becomes more essential that we take time for reflection, that we spend time in stillness, and that we move toward doing the things we can do that have a positive outcome. We say, well, how do I know if it has a positive outcome? Well, what in your heart is it that gives you fulfillment, the kind of fulfillment that doesn't come from big things, but moment by moment? How do you strengthen connection with others in the places you find yourself? How do you strengthen connection? By being present to another, by offering that word, by offering that hand, by reaching out to break through an energy that's present, by bringing forth some alternative, by, as we say, the practices of kindness and compassion and caring and seeing and knowing. When things turn upside down, we know they turn right side up again. And yet, we don't have control right now. Whatever control we have is from our heart in spiritual alignment. I can control what I let control me. It's a powerful statement of reality. I can control my spiritual decision or the choice I make at any moment. But I can't control this or that or the other, no matter how much I wish. So for all the people who are suffering, for all the people who are in upheaval, for all the people whose lives are being impacted today, wherever they may be in this world, in the midst of what looks so dark it can't be penetrated, the light is present. But we have to look for it. And then we see it. We see it there, and we see it there, and we see it there, and we see it there. Oh, we say, there's the light. Oh, there's the light. There's the light. When I look for it, there's the light. Where does it come from? It comes from my seeing and knowing that it's present. And then it reveals itself in so many different ways. As much as change as we're experiencing it is everywhere, there's something much more powerful available to us. We can remember that. Cleo, would you share our daily word with us? You got the mic, you must be the one. Got it? Yes, she said, dancing up the stairs. got a blue light.
I like looking at you. You make me feel good. And I was just thinking about one of the whispers is, love the folks in front of you. That would be you. And today, it's about looking ahead. I look ahead with positive expectation. So many things pull at my attention. The things I must attend to, the meeting the needs of others, and even my own pursuits and passions require my time and attention. Setting and working towards goals may sound a little dull undertaking, but it's actually an empowering path to spiritual freedom. Working towards a goal helps me focus and keeps me motivated, kinda. I call upon to claim my spiritual gifts of imagination in order to set my goal and plan and achieve it. I use my gift of wisdom to discern the best path and my will to make the best choices. This is the way I use the power of God to keep my life meaning and make my dreams come true. I look ahead, grateful for God's presence within me. And then from Proverbs, let your eyes look directly toward and let your gaze be straight before you. Keep straight the path of your feet and your ways to be sure.
What was yesterday's? Do you remember? Presents. Could you? Can you share that as well? Thank you. Well, no, it's good. I like the scripture.
Okay. Presence. Living a spiritual life, I find God's presence everywhere. Prayer, meditation, and my other spiritual practice are wonderful ways to feel the presence of God. When I'm engaged in these practices, the divine presence feels so near, and I feel serene, at peace, and deeply loved. But the presence of God is not with me only during the times. It is everywhere, all the time. Understanding this, I bring my attention to the world in a new way. I find God in acts of kindness and selfless service. I see the divine presence in the beauty of nature and in soaring creativity of human-made creations. The presence of God is also within me. I recognize it as a whisper of guidance or a flash of insight when I most need it. Whenever I feel the fullness of joy or the depths of love, I am in the presence of God. And Psalms, seek the Lord and his strength. Seek his presence continually.
Thank you for doing that. Nice home. Do we have a meditation intro, sir? Don't, that was a blank look there. If you don't know who he is yet, he's Steve Mason. He's part of our family. He's here at least the first Sunday of every month. And he is our dearest, dearest, dearest friend. And we love you so much. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do for us. Yeah.
There's a little mantra at the beginning of this, which many of us have sung before. It's sweet silence, perfect peace. It's just a breath away. Sweet silence, perfect peace is just a breath away. Sweet silence, perfect peace is just a breath away. Sweet silence, perfect peace is just a breath away. Sweet silence, perfect peace is just a breath away. A space for grace, for grace. I find myself the time and space when I slow down into nothing just to be. Through inner eyes, love is all I see. I listen for a whisper at a blissful pace and find myself the time and space. Sweet silence, perfect peace is just a breath away. Sweet silence, perfect peace is just a breath away. Sweet silence, perfect peace is just a breath away. Sweet silence, perfect peace is just a breath away.
With our breath. With a breath, I reclaim my sacred space. I allow a breath to bring me home into myself, into my heart, into the sanctuary of my being. With a breath, I bring my attention home to the center of my being. And I let go. Here in the center, the storms come and the storms go, but they come to pass. Here in the center, the storms are around me, not within me. And I see them for what they are. When I am in my center, I know that every storm that rises and falls cannot harm me, for I dwell in the presence of the One. And when I feel afraid and when everything is coming apart, I breathe and bring myself as close in my awareness as I can be into that presence of love, into that presence of infinite peace, comfort. In the center, I am held together, even when things around me are coming apart. In the center, I know that I am whole. I am guided, and it has always been so. With my breath, I can breathe that wholeness throughout my being, knowing I am held. I can see that the presence is throughout my being and all around me. I can see that I am held and that every step I take is guided, is illuminated by the light that shines in me. Sometimes we say, I'm so afraid I can't hear your presence. And the immediate response is right there in our fingertips and in our toes and in our arms and in our back and front and in our hips and in our head, that swirling mind, even there the presence is offering strength and comfort and clarity. And when I feel lost, I take a breath and remember that in my heart, I can never be lost. I can never be alone. For this heart is one with the heart of God. And what is to be is stabilized and harmonized within me by the awareness that I am held, I am safe, I am comforted, I am loved. I can breathe. I am here. I can breathe. God is here. We hold this awareness for others, all others. You can breathe. God is with you. You can breathe, and the presence floods your being with the guidance you need, with the peace and the light that blesses you. You are here. You are blessed. You are whole. I breathe, and I know in my center that with God all things have a harmony that I may not understand. But that provides me with everything. In faith, believing. I believe in the power of good. I stand in the center of believing that everything is coming together in goodness and in love. As I breathe, I let go. I am here now. And the question arises, loving Spirit, what would you have me know? And what would you have me do? With love, in the presence of peace, we pray, giving thanks. Amen.
Wrote this for my wife and kids. It's called Enjoy the View. I realized that at some point I was traveling a bunch and I'd get to my destination and that night I would be thinking, I don't remember even looking in their eyes when I left the house. And it's just like, oh my goodness. So I don't know about all the rest of you who create anything, whether it's knitting or writing or singing or whatever, it's baking, whatever. But you probably have a reason that you bake those cookies or that you knit that thing or you write that poem. So I write things to remind myself. Goes like this. Let the sun shine, let the dandelions grow, let the hummingbirds hum, turn the ringer off of your phone. Let the rain drop and the frogs croak. Let the bees buzz, let the laundry sit and soak. Instead, just look into your loved one's eyes. Take a good long look or two. There's so much we can set aside Just enjoy the view. Just enjoy the view. Let the moon rise and let the crickets crick. Let the wind howl and blow. You don't need to manage any of it. Let the mercury drop and the flakes float down. Let it snow deep and drift. Let it cover some other town. Take a look down deep inside. Into your hearts now, that's a view. That's where your world of love resides. It resides where you'll find the real you. Look into your loved one's eyes. Take a good long look or two. There's so much we can set aside, set aside. Just enjoy the view. Just enjoy the view.
The Grammys are on tonight. Are you have anything entered?
Well, you think the crickets crick thing would work there?
I think it could happen.
Hey.
What?
So this intuitive, who was at East West Bookstore,
Yeah.
kind of said, you guys want to talk to my wife and me? A few weeks ago, Sophie, our daughter, was off on so we're like, we got time. So we talked to this gal, and she said, let's talk about your music, because she had heard that I play music. And she said, I'll cut to the chase. She says, over the 7,000 years back I can see in your lifetimes, she said, I just keep hearing this phrase in different languages throughout time. And she said, the phrase is, it's okay, bub.
It's okay, Bob.
Bub, B-U-B.
Bub. It's okay,
I said,
Bub.
would you say that again? And she says,
Yeah.
it's okay, bub. So I get a little shaky because that was my dad's nickname for me. Yeah, and she says, what it means is, you may not play to millions of people or have Grammy Award-winning songs, but your job throughout all these It's Okay lifetimes, It's Okay Bub lifetime, is to just tell people it's okay, and you feel it's okay, this journey that we're all going through, and make it okay. And I thought, oh my goodness.
How great is
So
that?
I was listening to some of this book on the way up, and like, how beautiful.
It's great, huh? So when I was still in Santa Barbara, Peter Cater would come several times a year, and when he was in and around the area. And if you don't know Peter Cater, he's magical musically. But, you know, he was up for 1,000 Grammy Awards.
Yeah.
Peter was like nominated every year in the category of New Thought or whatever they call it, alternative weirdness music. Woo-woo work. And the Woo-Woo Award for sure. And he had this incredible music. He'd worked at it for so long, and every year he'd be on the list of, 5 and never win. I said to him, Peter, does it matter to you? He was like, I don't care. I don't do it for Grammys. I don't do it for awards. I do it because I love what I do. And I think, the gift that people have, their unique way of bringing creativity and beauty and joy to the world is that's really what Spirit prompts in us. That part of us can be allowed to sing, to be dirt. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
It's okay, Bob.
yeah, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Peter Cater. He actually finally won. I don't remember when, but it was long into those years. Well, so practice certainty of purpose. How many of you are certain of your purpose? Come on, just be, Betsy is, Kathleen is, you are. Really? I want to hear it. Not right now, you can tell me. Denise is. Do you feel like you're getting more close to the fulfillment or the acceptance of you as you are bringing forth in the way you do? Yeah. How, I didn't get over here. D, on purpose. More clear. You think? Leanne, yeah? Valerie? Not yet. Or so we say. Cleo, yes? Yeah. It's, Ellen says yes. Yes. And Betsy says yes, yeah. It's the, it is the dance, this thing about purpose. We received too much training around what purpose would look like if we were purposeful. Ellen, I think you can take that down slightly. I echoing. Oh, look, me echoing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks. Over the many years of the work, so many people who I have known and loved just feel like I can't figure out what my purpose is. I don't know why I'm here. I can't figure out what my purpose is. I don't know, I don't understand. What I do doesn't seem to be it, and then I do, and then that's not it either, and I don't know, and I don't know how to reconcile with not knowing what my purpose is. And then, you know, so many books about the goals and the purpose and the whatever, and they all teach us that that there's something in us that always wants to be born into expression, and yet we have some image of what it means, don't you think? We have an image of what it means, to the point that if we allow it to, it feels like a failure, like we should know, and then we should do it. And then if I knew, I would, but, and then we begin to feel more whole as a result of the work we do, or the changes we've made in the way we see or think or understand something. We already prayed for you, Kath. You can go home. You're already healed. Don't even be concerned about this. A 6-week vacation. Bless your heart. This wiring that we're born with knows that we are something, doesn't know what that something is, and keeps us on the trail of looking for what that means. So knowing someone who is nearing their end, frequently what comes up is this feeling that they haven't done what they came here to do. It's one of the most painful things I've ever witnessed, that, you know, in that late stage of being, that there could be anything missing in the perfection of that individual and their lives, such that if they only knew what it was, they would have done it, but it's failure on some level, not to know and align with purpose. I used to watch CNN Heroes when they first began. Did you? I loved it. And here these people would be who were just folks cleaning up rivers, polluted rivers, a 9-year-old gathering turkeys for people for Thanksgiving and distributing them, and hundreds of them. A woman who was providing and had created a way to provide child care for mothers in the Indian prisons in India, pregnant mothers who needed child care. People who conceived and organized and manifested. In Guatemala, when I was there, I met with the microloan people in Guatemala, and visited a number of the cooperatives, because I was really, it mattered to me that that work was happening. And these were women whose husbands couldn't work or didn't work or wouldn't work or whatever the case might be. And they would gather together and take a small microloan. These microloans were set up by this wonderful model, and a small amount of money, you know, like $50 worth of whatever the money was at that time, and use it to buy chickens or weaving material or beads or vegetables or whatever, and then through the cooperative they paid back their loans while at the same time distributing whatever it was they were making, and meeting together in the cooperatives to support one another. The two of the cooperatives I visited, these amazing women, power and force, who had come out of nothing. People all over the world, you know, doing things with water, and people doing this, and somebody doing that, and somebody making that, and somebody creating something somewhere. And I looked at it all because Eunice, the microloan person, has now become a key political figure. I can't remember his first name, Eunice. I'll find it for you next week. Anyway, he started this so that people who had nothing could do something and use whatever creativity they had to create it. These women were on purpose. They had their kids beating. They had people making stuff. They were doing the most amazing things, paying off the loan, having their own work succeed, doing all these things. In the United States, it was this guy, I'll never forget, cleaning the river. It was like one of the major waterway rivers in the United States. And it's become, of course, his life's work. But in each of these people was a seed of purpose that had never been seen or never been defined or never been honored for what it was. Out of nothing coming something out of people who would have believed that they really had no power, they had no possibility, they had no way. So I'd watch them on CNN because one of them would win the grand prize, and all of them were acknowledged and received monetary gifts. And I'd look at them and I'd think, wouldn't it be wonderful to have such a clear, defined sense of the next right thing is the way to create a world of purpose and fulfillment. It wasn't big, it wasn't grand, it wasn't monumental. It changed everything. It changed the cultures. It changed the men in those cultures who felt that they had nothing to give. And it became cooperative in the sense that anyone who was so inspired, particularly in the Guatemalan situation, could go receive money, a little, and create a world for their family, in their community, for each other. So I used to watch these people on TV at the annual thing, and somebody would be doing something in Nepal, and it was about education, or it was about children, or it was about something. And they had an idea, they just had an idea, and it was just inside them. And it wasn't a big idea, it was just, well, what if idea. And out of that came something that had never existed in that culture or community or life before. And we've been doing it all our lives with different opportunities and different possibilities that spring up in us, and we don't even realize that we're accomplishing huge things that are on purpose. They're just the things we do. They're on purpose. It makes sense. It matters. My mother passed without thinking she'd ever made a single contribution to this world. She had done things. She finally realized that one of her dreams had come true, even though she was not well educated. She was hired by the university in Salem to become a cataloger of Governor Mark Hatfield's resources. He was the governor in a powerful way in Oregon. That she could do that gave her a value she had never had before. Cataloging, creating in a way that she could touch and feel, that feeling of doing something meaningful. It isn't what I would do, but it was everything for her. When she passed, she left me books of things that she had collected during that time, because they meant everything to her. What is our purpose? If you had asked my mother, she would have said, oh, I've never done anything. But it's not true. We've all done that which has come through us and from us that is not really measurable. It can be tangible. It can come through you in a very tangible way.
Well, here you are.
Well, here I am.
You wouldn't be here as you are without your mother.
No, I wouldn't be here. Had she not been, I would not be. I don't know if she ever, I think she did feel that way about it. So when we come into, she had heard me say at some point in time, so I was born literally right at the last few weeks at the end of the Second World War. So, literally, it was just ending, and 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 then she became pregnant fairly quickly after that, and I always thought she didn't really want a baby, and she overheard me say that I thought, that she didn't want that. And so many years, like many years, we were in the car driving, and she said, I really did want you. Out of the blue. I really did want you. And I looked at her and said, wow. I mean, it was a life-changing moment. Changed my life. So we get to purpose. What's our purpose? And we see people arising out of seeming nothingness into these what do we want to call them? Sprinklings of activity or thought or ideas. And then we have friends who are very sure about their identity from the time they're 2 years old, 1, 2, 3 years old. I always found that difficult because I searched so hard to feel like I was on purpose. Now you'd think that somebody who'd been doing this work for almost 50 years now, like maybe 48 years, 49, wouldn't have a question about that. Why? Because I couldn't accept the validity of my own path. I couldn't accept my own purpose, not just doing it or being here or doing whatever the work was. I couldn't accept my own path, which had underneath that a strong denial of self. Not enough. Should be different. Something missing. Whatever those things are that frequently stand in the way of accepting that where we are is exactly on purpose for that time in that experience. 20 years you work on those cards. Every day you were on purpose. Not because you were even working on them every day, but because being on purpose is the reality of you. Not an intellectual thought, but how you live into the world. So when we get into this chapter, practice certainty of purpose, it rang some bells for me. It was like, practice certainty of purpose. Well, what would that mean? Practicing certainty of purpose, she said, is a commitment to figure out why we're here and what we're going to do about it. But I know her well enough now through the material that I know that that's not exactly what she meant. That you cannot be without purpose. It's impossible to extricate yourself from the workings of the one power and one presence as it is always expressing. You can't extricate yourself from that to be purposeless. Why? Because what is living you is living through you And yes, it comes out in this way. Margaret does cards and art and all kinds of stuff. And you do, you change people's lives just by being around. All you have to do is show up, be around, hang out somewhere. Um, it does that. Valerie is a healer. You all have that in you that may not be the way you've defined it, but what she actually says to us as you read the chapter is certainty of purpose starts with believing you have one. I exist, therefore I have purpose. How do I know that? The universe couldn't be whole without the me of me that is in expression now. Being purposeful is not hard work, we discover. It's being present, however that form might be. The housewife, the mother, the whoever, the father, the musician, the whoever that feels like they've never gotten it together. Well, you can't get it apart. You can come into alignment with these doors within you and open them and allow things to emerge in accord with different forms of expression, and you can open the doors within your own being and allow that support of I am here, thus I am on purpose. Not I'm here in this building. I'd love to believe because you're on a spiritual track that brings more purposefulness into expression in your life. But this God stuff doesn't leave anything out. It doesn't leave anything out. Well, it's got to be more. It's got to be different. It's got to be bigger. It's got to be this. I have to go there. I have to do this. Well, maybe all of those things are true. But none of it can happen without that ever emerging process of the purpose for your being present where you are. When you can come into some acceptance of that, then other things begin to emerge. Then you begin to see things differently. Some of you are farther enough in the book that the story about the angel, I love that story. Some of you haven't read it yet, so I'm going to read it. There's a legend in the Hasidic tradition that says when a baby is conceived, an angel accompanies the soul into the womb and lives with the fetus for the 9 months of gestation. Here, in the blood-thumping shelter of the mother, angel and soul speak of the life to come and decide together on the purpose of this incarnation. What is this soul coming to contribute? Who will help support this purpose? What challenges will be faced? Where comes love? How will Beth find this one and bring him or her home? It says, a catch to all of this thoughtful planning. Just as the birth pangs begin, when the soul must fully enter the baby self and the angel return to heaven, the angel reaches out and presses its finger against the baby's lip. We still have this mark. It says, "Hush," it whispers to the stirring child. "Now you must forget." And all the while, the womb bears down around us, pushing us out into the waiting world. Here we come, imbued with purpose and arriving in amnesia. Imbued with purpose and arriving in amnesia. But we're not total amnesiacs. Small children delight and sometimes shock us with their ability to both remember and predict things about their lives, their families, their futures. Most of us live in this paradox. We are trailing glimpses of insight, knowing why we are here and not knowing. We both remember and forget. We are imbued with wonder and sometimes consumed with loss. From childhood on, we seek our purpose in 1,000 ways, and we manifest it in 1,000 ways. Certainty of purpose starts by believing we have one. Certainty of purpose starts by believing we have one. Can't be here without one. Not possible. Not about the intellect trying to figure out what would that look like. It's about allowing that which you are to emerge. Doors to open. Feelings to emerge. Ooh, little, as we call them, glimmers of light that show up, that draw us or repel us. How do I know what I'm here for? To become conscious. To awaken to the reality that you are whole and complete just as you are. God's perfect child, born in wholeness and entirety, following the thread of that which from thing to thing to thing to thing brings forth a revelation of self as a spiritual being, as a human being, that reminds you always, I am here, I am on purpose. As you read this chapter, it will be very personal for you in many ways. Not because she discloses a lot of really personal stuff, but it's a conversation. And in that conversation, it's really significant to explore and to know the ways in which you have support. So, having said that, let's share our tithes and love offerings. Next week, we're going on to Surrender to Surprise. Can't wait. As we share our tithes and love offerings, we do so in the spirit of generosity. Look, there's Dave, there's Sam. Thank you for doing that. Grateful. I give joyfully and easily, for God is my source, and abundance is my nature. And again, I give joyfully and easily, for God is my source, and abundance is my nature.
Thank you for your love and more, the gifts untold, shelter from the cold. When I'm feeling sad or lonely, you let me know I'm not the only one who's ever been here. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Thank you for for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for.
Ellen, do we have kids? No kids. Well, we bless our babies wherever they are. And we bless the kid in you. Absolutely. Prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Don't forget it. At least for the next 5 minutes. Hold on to it. All right, you all. I trust you. I know who you are. When he said you're the light of the world, he meant you. And please know that wherever you walk, blessings abound. I know that about you. And however that is for you, perfection is at work. So you are held, you are loved, you are seen, you are known. Let's sing our peace song.
All right, stretch those arms. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let